I am not going to allow my pain to weigh me down. So today is going to be a story time, sharing my story with you guys, just for you guys to learn from. So hi guys, my name is Temilola as always, and welcome to this channel again. And what we do on this channel is to give you information on how you can come to Germany to study and also to work with different routes, right? Because we have different routes of studying and improving on yourself here in Germany. But today I have a story of my life that I believe everyone would learn from. And like I've always been telling you guys, I don't gatekeep. I tell you the way it is. Guys, today I'm going to be telling you what happened to me, a personal experience. So I'm going to tell you guys to please watch till end, because it's going to benefit you. Even if it's not going to benefit you in person, it might benefit anyone you know or any member of your family, right? Okay, so let's just dive into it, because I really don't want this video to be long. So I hope I can manage to summarize everything. It happened to me in the year 2021 when I finished with my internship. I was about rounding up with my internship, then I got this job online. And this job, guys, I will tell anyone that this job really scrutinized me before they hired me. So it wasn't as if a job that came maybe on a platter of gold like that. I was actually at the time in another city, not where my university was, because of my internship. Then along the line, I fell in love with that city. Then I wanted to stay back, right? Because it was actually a big city. Even now, I don't really like big cities any longer. You see how human changes. Okay, so I was in that city. Then I said, okay, I want to stay back in this city. Then I was looking for something to do. Then I found this job and I realized it's something I can do like remotely. Not really remote, but then I don't have to go to work. They will just send me some things to my house. Then I'll also send it to the address they gave to me, because I already have a dashboard. They created a dashboard for me to start working with. So it was looking so good and balanced, not knowing that it wasn't. So to cut the long story short, like, I really want you guys to pick so many things and to also tell you what this job cost me. It cost me a lot. Not in money. I never paid for anything, but then it cost me something more than money. So I'm just going to tell you at the end of this video. So while I was doing this job, I think it was okay. In fact, I remember then my landlord even helped me sometimes when I have some things heavy to take to the DHL office to send. So I was doing that, and that was December. I started like December. I think I only did like 3 parcels. Then I had to travel January. Then I told them I'm traveling, so they paid my work. So eventually I couldn't travel that January 2022. So but later I traveled around February. Then I came back March, and this March I started doing this job fully. But within that March, guys, within that March that I started this job, I realized it was giving me some information, some signals that weren't sitting well with me. Imagine them telling me that they want to send me money into my account, like 20,000 euros, then automatically I'll have 10% of this money, which is whopping 2,000 euros. Then I thought to myself, this is too good to be true. At that moment, guys, I will not lie to you, my body was shivering. My body was shaking. Then I realized I'm already into a very bad job already. That was when I realized it. And mind you guys, before then, I'd already been seeing, like, when they send me parcels, they won't put my name. Then they put like in care of someone. Then I was like, I called their attention. I said, stop putting in care of anyone. I don't have anybody I'm caring for in this country. I live all alone where I am living. Please stop putting in care, in care. You know, as a learned person, you also have to, like, even if I don't understand how 419 works, if I don't know how all these people that are into fraud works, I should be able to reason to an extent on my own, right? So when I saw all those in care, then I called their attention to it. I said, please stop putting in care. Why are you putting in care? I'm working for you directly. So put my name straight and let me know where I'm sending this thing to, right? Because like I told you, they have a dashboard already created for me. So to cut the long story short on this part, they stopped putting in care. But when they came up with the idea of me having 20,000 euros, then I knew something was wrong. So I quickly called my husband. I told him about it. Then he said, no, this is not good. And also my husband's friend was at the time in Nigeria. So he said, this is outrightly wrong, that I should go to the police station, which I did that very evening. I went to the police station in the city I was back then. But unfortunately for me, they weren't listening to me so much, because I told them that this is what these people are doing. And I feel like if they're asking me this question, then it's not a good question. Then I don't even want to work with them, because I never even collected any salary from them yet. So please, let's take up this case, because I don't want to work with them again. And I feel at the time that maybe these people, because I was still communicating with them, maybe if the police has taken it up, maybe they could also be arrested somehow, somewhere, right? I was just thinking loud like that. But unfortunately for me, the police people said no, I should just go and get a lawyer. Then with him, I was like, getting a lawyer for what? Like, I don't know. Anyways, that was how I left that day. And lo and behold, the second week, I started receiving, because I'd already given them the signal that I don't want to work with them, right? So they too, they were like, okay, maybe it's time for them to just show me who they are really. And they did. And the second week, they started sending me, I started receiving receipts to pay some things I never bought. But I realized that some of these things were things I used to repackage and send to the address they sent to me via the dashboard I was working with, right? Because during my internship, at a point, I also worked from home remotely because of COVID. And I know the dashboard we work with, so I was used to like, okay, working remotely. So I never even suspect this type of job. I never suspected it. So I feel, oh, they have a dashboard you're working with. You can even see how much you're earning, like how it's increasing, right? So I never knew these people were actually using my data, because something here in Germany is that before you get a job, I think mostly with Western countries, they have to get all your details. Your details has to be given before you get a job, even before you get a house to rent. So it wasn't something big to me or curious to me to be asking questions about that. Why are you asking for my details? It's a normal thing here in Germany. So apparently they were using my data to get their atrocities done. And when I started receiving this receipt, I went to the police station to report. And at this time, it was in another city, not far from where I was living, right? Because in this city, I went there for German language course. So I was into my German language fully. So I was living in a family friend's house. So I was doing that. And sometimes maybe weekend, I would just go to my own house and just see some things and come back, because the German class was cheaper there and the school is very good in teaching German. So I prefer to live there and also have my German course done. So I went to the police station in this city I was talking about, where I had my German course. And they gave me a paper to be sending to all these companies that will send me receipts, that because if they see that paper, then they will know that they don't have to collect any money from me, but their insurance would pay for it, right? So like maybe after another week again, I received a paper from the police station. And this one has to do with the police station in the city where I was living, that I have my address registered, right? And they said I'm into fraud, something like that. Guys, this wasn't funny, because this story I'm telling to you and you're seeing me smiling has really cost something more than money. Like I said earlier, just stay tuned to the end, then you're going to learn from this so that you don't fall victim of all these bad jobs. And you know, the funny thing was that I got this job from a very lucrative and known website here in Germany, which is Indeed.com. Guys, I'm not saying Indeed.com is not good, because I also got, the funny thing is that the job I do currently now, which is a very good job with the university, one of the most known and best university in Germany, I got the same job via this Indeed. So that's, as you know, matched up to tell you that Indeed.com is a very good website to look for a job. But I got this bad job from there. I got it there. So the thing is that you have to understand the type of job descriptions you're seeing. And do you know the funny thing was that later again, I still find this same company that gave me this bad job on this same Indeed. And I had to like send this link to the police to try and see if they could, you know, get hold of all these people via this link. Because if they also pretend to be looking for a job, maybe, but I'm not sure if they did anything about it. Because I was actually opened to be there to help, like not really to help the police, but then to be there to help somehow to help, because I was a victim and I know how they like move with me. Then maybe I could give them some tips, but they were not doing things like that. So leaving that behind, when I started when the police called me to talk about how I got into fraud with people, like this time around, they said I am using people's card to buy things. How do I explain that? Like, I don't get. I do not understand. How am I supposed to use people's card to buy things? Like, even till now, I'm still trying to fathom it. To tell you how these people into fraud works, they are so dangerous. So it was going on like that. Like, I had 3 interrogatory sessions with the police. And this police station I'm talking about, it is not all these shallow police stations. Big police stations that you can't even get to the gate anyhow in the first place. And no one is at the gate standing or waiting for you. You have to use your sense to find your way. Is going to be speaking to you through the computer, and you're just going to, like, even the place is going to be scary to you. Those were the police stations I went to, guys, here in Germany. Like, I've seen a lot. I just want to thank God that he has been so faithful to me all through. But this case really cost me a lot, and I said I'm going to tell you. So that was 2022. The case was on and on like that. So at a point, I was praying to God, but my case was with the police. And by December 2023, I got a paper from the prosecutor, which is known as Staatsanwalt here in Germany. And this person told me via mail that he's not going further with this case because he could see that I'm just a victim. So no case was done against me. I really give God all the glory to that. But guys, I thought that was the end. It wasn't the end. Come 2024, I was in Nigeria for holiday. That morning, because I was used to checking my mails, because I know everything I'm doing here in Germany has to, you know, communication is done via email most of the time. So I checked my email that fateful morning after I woke up from bed. And I saw this email from my university. At this time, I was still doing my my master's program. So, and at this time, I'd already moved back from that city, because when I knew I had this police problem, I had to come back to my city and face my final thesis. And mind you guys, 2022, I thought I should be done with university for my master's, but because of this case, I was a little bit destabilized. And that was why I went for, I just said, okay, let me just see what I can do with my life. And I just switched to this language course. So that was why I went for language instead of continuing with my master's thesis. So when I came back to the city where my university is, I traveled home 2024, that the police people came to my house and they couldn't find me. So apparently they came to maybe interrogate me or arrest me. So what happened was that they've already sent me like three times mail, and I wasn't responding. So that called for, you know, arrest somehow. Unfortunately, I couldn't have seen their email, their mails and not respond, but then I wasn't around, I was in Nigeria. So they contacted my caretaker took them to my university, and my university contacted me via email, saying that they didn't give my details to them because it is, Germany is very good when it comes to data protection. But I still wonder how these fraudulent people get to use people's data anyhow. So they sent me that email that I should contact these police people via phone call or their email address. So I had to like quickly call one of my husband's friend here in Germany that, sir, please help me to call these people. And thank God he also knows about this story, because I always tell him everything about me here in Germany, so he knows about this story. In fact, before I even got the job, I told him about it. So he called them on my behalf and he explained things to them, and the police people were okay with his explanation, but they still requested me to send them some documents that I have that could also back up what is explaining. So, and thank God, I remember when I was traveling to Nigeria at that time, that spirit told me go with this folder of case, because I already opened a folder for the case, right? So, and that is one lesson here in Germany. Please, any document you receive in Germany, do not tear and throw away. Do not trash them. Keep them. Even your payslip, keep them. Your Steuer paper, keep them. Every details, keep and keep. You have to keep papers here in Germany. So I went with the folder. Thank God I listened to my instinct, so I went with the folder to Nigeria. So that was the folder I was able to open and, just send them some things after they requested for some details from me. So after maybe they read the message, they could see that, oh, this was the case of they using my data, and they are still using my data even when I'm not around. So that gave them the insight of, no, this one doesn't even know anything for real, which I do not know. So they told me, oh, I should enjoy my holiday, and I responded to them that when I'm back in Germany, I told them when I will be back, that as soon as I come, the second day I'll come to their office. And they told me, no, I should not bother coming, that I should just enjoy my holiday, and when I'm back in Germany, I should continue living my life. So, and that was exactly what I did. So fast forward to November 2020. Fast forward to November 2024. I put in for my citizenship application, because at the time I was already 5 years in Germany with the new law. So I put in for my citizenship application, and fast forward to 2026. Now that we are in 2026, right? I was eligible for PR because I'd already worked for 2 years. Apparently, I'd paid into the pension office for like 2 years, which is part of the criteria for permanent residence, which is the Niederlassung Erlaubnis. So I put in for my PR April 24. And the current city I am right now, it takes just roughly 1 month for you to get your PR. Then I waited for 1 month and 2 days. It wasn't coming and no response. So after that, I messaged my contact person, and it told me that there are some cases against me. Guys, imagine those cases. There are some cases against me. And he told me that this case is even 9 cases. So I had to explain to him what the cases might be, that I do not really know, because these cases were long deleted, I thought, or were long not talked about. The last time I heard about maybe police trying to call me for anything was 2024, and which I wasn't even around, but I was able to communicate with them, right? And 2025, nothing. And now 2026, June and May, when I sent this man, my contact person, an email, that was his response, that there are 9 cases opened against me. That is, he has written the prosecutor office and waiting for response. And a week after, I also sent him another email to ask for the updates. And he told me that now he's seeing 15 cases. Guys, do you want to know how I felt? They would say, experience is the best teacher. This type of experience, I never even prayed for it for my worst enemy. Like, not even for my worst enemy, but that was my experience. And when he told me that they have 15 cases against me right now, I was like, where are these cases coming from? Like, who is there using my data? Why me? I am here battling with research paper. I am here battling with how to write paper, how to publish papers, how to contribute to the society, how to publish papers that people would read and see that there are so many things they could do with this type of plant I'm working with, right? How to improve on my career, how to make ends meet. And some persons are out there using my data for wrong things. Seriously, guys, I was dazed. My head was spinning. But I just thank God for his strength in my life, because one thing about me is that no matter how the situation is, I always remember God. I always hold on to God, because I believe he is the utmost in my life, not even any situation. So I thank God for that strength. So I was able to just do my work that day and then go home after work. And I told my husband obviously about it, and we're just praying to God about it. And by June, towards end of May, I still asked this man, how about it? He said, nothing yet from the office of the prosecutor. So apparently you could see that that was actually delaying my permanent residence. So I couldn't get my permanent residence because of this. And first week of June, I asked him again. He was still telling me same thing. And by middle of June, on the 18th of June, this contact person outrightly told me that my application is pending. Nothing will be done on it because he has to hear from the prosecutor's office. Guys, my lesson for you, like my encouragement and my view on this is that, please, anything you're doing in this journey, just do it with the utmost truth you can. Because I remember when the police people collected my laptop, they asked me to bring my laptop to one of the interrogatory session, and they checked my laptop. There was a point at which I was speaking with these people I was working with, thinking that I have boss that I'm working with, like I have, you know, people I'm working with. Obviously, I signed a good contract, and this head office of this work I was working with was in Berlin. They are in Berlin. It is online. Like their address is available online. So I wonder how they are doing all this fraud. I seriously do not understand. They saw one of the mail where we were talking. You know, normally you send emails if I have any issue with maybe printing, blah, 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 the document, the address, or if I didn't get any parcel and they said I've seen it, and I said, oh, I didn't see any parcel yet. You know those emails. I remember there was a time they asked me that, oh, do I know I can work in Germany without paying tax? And I wrote in my conversation with them with the response that, no, please, I want to pay my tax. I'm not doing a mini job here. If I'm doing a mini job, then I know I do not have to pay tax. But this is already entering into a part-time job. Please let me pay my tax. And when the policeman read that part, he gives me a thumbs up. He did like this. He said, do you know why I'm doing that to you? I said, no, because I was in me. That day, my eyes were red. I was crying within, inside. You know, all this deep cry inside you, because I was like, is this me at the police station talking about what I know nothing about? So I said, no, I don't know. He said, I read something here and I could see that you are a good person. And the other colleague was asking me that, what is that? And he told the person, and I heard. Then I said, thank you. So guys, in this country, you just have to hold on to the truth at every point in time of your life. Do not allow anyone to lure you into any stress, into anything that will cause you something money cannot buy. Like right now, money cannot buy me PR. This case has to leave. Money cannot buy me PR. And do you know one thing, guys? I will share with you in my next video the outcome of this pending PR. So guys, stay tuned and see you in my next video. Bye bye.